you guys like comic books? I found a bunch of my comic books today, and they seem kind of excited about them. Some of them date all the way back to 1970. For the record, I was 1 year old. Okay, so these are from my late Uncle Brian, and the covers are off of them, so that greatly decreases the value. So, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Read the origin of Professor X. That's pretty cool. Did y'all know his stepbrother is the Juggernaut?
Yes.
Yeah. Learned that in here, yeah. And lots of other little.
They didn't
cool
know that his brother
that.
was the Juggernaut.
Evidently, his stepbrother, they didn't know that. Yeah, he actually tells the story, and then they have to basically, they have to fight the Juggernaut, and then the Human Torch from Fantastic Four comes in and helps save the day. Anyway, it's pretty cool. So, do you guys like comic books?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Do y'all have any of your own?
No, sir.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I have one.
Some. You have one? Okay. Michael?
I have some that was passed down to me.
Did you even look at them?
We'll go with that.
So, okay, you didn't get a chance to look at. I would like to look at them sometime. I have X-Men. I have Iron Man. I have lots of X-Men. Alpha Flight, Spider-Man.
You got a Tarzan.
You guys can see Elf Quest, Alpha Flights, G.I. Joe Special Missions, Tarzan number 14, 35 cents. Blue Devil number 1.
Amazing Man.
A-Rack, Son of Thunder number 1.
Atari Force.
Amazing Man. Oh, Blue Devil number 1. Atari Force. I have a ton of them. Long Shot, Spider-Man. I can't even begin to name them all. Okay, this is how I really got into reading, was comic books. It's kind of funny. It's also how I got into art. My late Uncle Brian was really into comic books, and he turned me on to them. And I learned a lot about artwork, and you can see kind of, look at the artwork in this from 1970. It's kind of not the same artwork we see today, is it?
No, it's definitely more printed.
Yeah, and look at this is probably about 15 years later, and look at the artwork in that. You can see some of the more recent artwork looks a little more detailed, doesn't it?
It's a lot sharper.
It's a lot sharper, a lot more detail. So it's kind of interesting to see the evolution of comic book artwork. You can kind of see that even just here in these. It's kind of cool to see that there's a different kind of feel in the older comic books too, which I kind of like. It's a lot more. It's kind of an innocence about it. Nowadays,
feel.
Huh?
Authentic feel.
Yeah, definitely has an authentic kind of vibe to it. The stuff that's out today is, it's the contemporary stuff is very a lot more sexual stuff, a lot more violence, a whole lot more violence. I kind of, maybe it's because I grew up with these, but I like the older ones. They're not
darker too.
Yeah, a lot darker. I tend to like the lighter and the more lighthearted stuff. You can see Blue Devil was one of my favorite. And it's got a lot of comedy in that. I still think Blue Devil comic books are cool. I'm sure they're no longer in print. But Amazing Man, that you could tell by looking at the cover, that's just comedy, right?
Yes,
okay. What's you guys? I know there's a lot of stuff going on now with Disney buying Marvel, and now we have all the superhero movies, the Avengers,
Marvel
and all that.
Cinematic Universe, and you've got the new DC Universe. Gosh, I forgot what it's
called.
The
DC movies are getting a little bit better now. Wonder Woman. That's pretty
Wonder
good.
Woman.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's a great movie.
Wonder Woman was a good movie.
I'm probably going to just buy it on Blu-ray. Just be done with it.
Definitely a step up from some
So the DC movies are getting better. And obviously, all the DC movies, all the Marvel, all the comic book movies, right, they all come from this, right? So that's kind of cool. And you're kind of seeing a resurgence of all the comic book characters and all that stuff, which is kind of cool to know that it came from here, these books. Comic books were a huge part of my, I guess, intellectual development as a child. Mm-hmm. So it was definitely one of my teachers. I was not doing so well in elementary school.
A comic book.
I told you guys before, she would give me a comic book whenever I'd make an A on a test or a quiz. Mm-hmm. I was in National Junior Honor Society next year, like 6th grade or whatever. So because every time I got an A, I got one of these. I was like, man, this is so cool, Mm-hmm. So anyway, for a lot of kids, it was a special treat back in the day to get one of these. Nowadays, everything's digital, so I guess you get like a PDF of a comic book now.
Yeah, you could just get it for free.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, which is kind of cool. But I guess
cool, but
there's a way to pay for that. I haven't really done
it's
much
not the
research.
same as holding.
I'm
it
so
in your
I'm so
hand
old school.
and reading it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, would you rather like read this holding it in your hands? Or would you rather read it on your cell
Scrolling
phone?
down.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of cool, isn't it? Like just like turn the pages. I'm kind of old school, so to me it's cool, right? You guys are probably thinking I'd rather see that in 1080p on my notebook, right, or whatever. Okay, what's your favorite characters? Favorite comic book characters? I know mine. Well, I'm not gonna say mine. I'm gonna let you guys go first. Michael.
Is the Flash a comic book?
Flash, yes, that is
the
DC.
Flash a comic
It's
book?
DC, man.
How's it sound?
Gabe.
Spider-Man.
That's a good one.
Batman.
Batman. Wolverine. Batman. You know what? If he would have said Wolverine, I would have said Batman. So I mean, Batman was. Yeah, I grew up watching.
He was a staple.
Yeah, watching the '60s Batman. And the show that would come on every day and all that. And so yeah, I mean, he was definitely my favorite. He's probably my favorite of all time. Do you think comic books influence some role-playing games or role-playing game creators? So like D&D. Well, we know D&D came from a bunch of like Conan, the official handbook of the Conan universe. Conan was huge part of my reading. About your age, I guess, maybe a little younger. I read the Conan novels, and of course I had still do have a ton of Conan comic books, so that was huge for me. My literature back then, my fun time literature, right? Robert Howard and Edgar Rice Burroughs, and so and obviously Tolkien. Those were huge in influencing in the creation of D&D. But I think. Do you guys think that maybe comic books could have some influence on creators of games that are similar to Dungeons and Dragons? Like, I guess there's tons of other role-playing type games that you can play.
Conan back there, that's like just straight up barbarians.
Yeah.
Going after
Robert Howard.
killing people.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. Conan's I don't think of him as a comic book character though, and
he really kind of strikes.
He's more of a literary, a novel character. I mean, he came out with the novels first, obviously, but the comic books came afterwards. So that's why I don't think of him as a comic book character. But there's obviously tons of Conan and Cole, the Conqueror. Robert Howard came up with that character as well. Those comic books. So anyway, good stuff. So do you think that could influence a lot of writers, a lot of game creators, and all? I mean, there is a Conan role-playing game that's out now too. So yeah, there's that. Almost forgot about that. Do you think comic books can be helpful for DMs or GMs, especially for stories or concepts?
Yes, sir. You
Yeah.
can give them ideas of, well, one, villains that they can come up with, and two, what the villains are doing.
Yeah.
Or what a different
Some of the
character might be
concepts.
doing.
Right.
Like stealing from a bank. That's just a simple one.
The thing that I love about comic books, I read this whole comic book inside like 15 minutes today, and really easy to digest, intellectually, and it's just, little paragraphs on the page. It's a real quick read, and they're giving you concepts with the artwork and with the real quick, paragraphs they're throwing at you, and you can pick up tons of concepts in like 20 pages. It's crazy. So like if I'm sitting around looking for a story and you guys we're going through our campaign in our game that's kind of like a real basic version of D&D, I can literally pick one or two of these up and I can come up with like a mini quest or two inside like 15 minutes. That's crazy. So and it's hard. I think to me personally it's harder to do that with a computer type in search because you don't know what you're searching for. You don't, unless, I guess you could hit a video or a website that's dedicated to ideas for, but to me this is a lot more fun. I'll just pick up one of my old comic books and just read for 10 minutes and, oh wow, Juggernaut. Oh wow, look, the helmet protects him from psionic damage. Oh wow, look, Human Torch. He's, and anyway, all these concepts, the equipment, the mutant powers, you just pull a lot of concepts inside like 15 minutes. It's pretty crazy. So me personally, I think DMs and GMs can get a lot from comic books. And as we said earlier, you can probably get a lot of these online too and make it even easier to
you could come
pick
up
them
with
up.
names for different items too. Like I know that this sword in Thundercats has a specific name. If you really just wanted to have a cool name for a sword, you could just take a name and
Thundercats. Okay, that's kind of wild. I hadn't thought about that concept, Thundercat concept, the heroes of Thunder, in probably 10 years, easy. But then just to see the picture, it gives you concepts in the picture, doesn't it? Just the front cover. Look, he's got like a claw glove with like some sort of gems on it or something, and look at his belt buckle. It looks like maybe a magical belt buckle or something.
Army charging into battle.
Anyway, you get a lot of concepts just, I think just looking at the artwork, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, Ian, do you think that comic books can be helpful for players of like role-playing games and stuff? Yeah? How do you think they might be helpful for players?
For names and stuff.
Names? Names of characters? That's actually, I didn't even think about that. Which is funny because I've done that like tons of times. I can't tell you how many times I've, made up a character either in a RPG video game or in like a D&D type game, and like his name is Cole or his name is Conan, which is so cliche, but it's like, dude, Conan is, he's cool. I want this character to be like him. Okay. Do you think comic books have influenced other creators, such as artists and writers? Michael? Do you think they've influenced writers and artists?
I mean, probably some of the artwork has influenced how people draw today, and they've improved on it, or just drawn similar images.
Yeah. I think it's really hard to know how much of an influence comic books have had on people. I think a lot of people don't really come up out and say, well, I was a comic book geek when I was 8. A lot of people, when they have a career in art when they're 52, they don't come out and say, well, I was really addicted to comic books from like 10 to 15, and that's when I really learned how to draw. Most of them won't say that because I don't know why. Maybe they've forgotten. Honestly, I've forgotten I even was into comic books until I saw these boxes out in the shed. I was like, oh yeah, comic books. It's been years since I even
touched these.
Yeah, looked at them or even looked at the boxes the comic books are in. So I completely forgotten about them. But then I look at them and then I remember, oh yeah, this is how I got into art to start with. This is how I got into, creating stories and writing stories. And the game that we play, we're creating a story together, aren't we? Yes, so this is kind of how I got into writing stories. And you guys, and y'all sit down with me and we role play, and we have your character does something and your character does something, and when you game with us, your character, and then we all work together, and whether we realize it or not, we're weaving a story together, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if you guys could open up one of these comic books right now and read whichever one you wanted to, which one would it be?
Spider-Man.
Really? Grab which one you want to read now. It doesn't matter. Anywhere in the room. I don't care. Okay. Michael, which one?
I've been eyeing this one the whole time.
Oh, you got Conan. I knew it. Which one?
Blue Devil.
Blue Devil. That's one of my favorites.
Blue Devil
Grab
for the
it,
Red
Blue
Devil.
Okay. That's 1 and 2. Right there in the same same cover. You guys can open up and read them if you want to. But just promise me you won't bend the pages.
Shoot. Okay.
They're not worth that much, but it's they're worth a lot to me. But it also means a lot to me for you guys to have them, so you guys can read them and enjoy them too. Okay, that's it for this version or this episode of Game Gab. Thanks guys for tuning in and hanging out with the geeky comic book kids. We're geeking out here. It's a geeking good time.
You have a Batman comic?
I do, but I don't have any out here. I know, sacrilege. I have a bunch of Batman. How do you like that? Batman comic books, but they're out in the box in the shed studio.
Look at these.
Very close
ads.
to the dehumidifier.
These old ads are.
Oh, the old ads are awesome, aren't they?
They're hilarious. Like, they look terrible.
Yeah, that tells about the
Asgard.
Yeah, Asgard and everything. I
can't
obviously
believe people
alphabetical
actually
order.
Think this was appealing, because if I saw this, I'd be like, oh.
Is that a video game?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What year was that? I bet it was like 93 or something. It's the 30th year anniversary of the Amazing Spider-Man. That's Spider-Man.
If it's the 30th year anniversary, that means it's 92.
Yeah, there you go.
It says
You can even see how they
84.
kind of messed up on.
And it
stuff.
says
Ooh, I like that. Check this out.
it's a football game, and it says football action so real it's bone crushing. But look at this football.
The pixels, giant. It looks like Minecraft football, doesn't it?
It does.
Arms and armor. This is the official handbook of the Conan universe, and arms and armor on one page. I mean, this is like a cool book, man. I mean, you can totally apply this to Dungeons and Dragons or any kind of role-playing game. Look, it's got a whole section on Conan.
Like, and
Samaria.
look, in the middle of it, it'll have like
giant map.
ads for more.
How cool is that? The Southern Ocean. Oh man, Red Sonja. Watch out, world.
Who's that?
What?
She made red hair look good, Michael. Red Sonja. just saying, just putting it out there. Vanaheim. Zingara.
You
Man,
can even really pick up
You
a
really
story.
can't beat Conan, man. I mean, Conan novels, Conan comic books. I mean, Conan's cool.
And
I ain't
even
gonna
if you
lie.
don't read the words, you can kind of pick up the story just from the pictures. You don't even really have to read
Yeah,
it.
I mean, you can just like sit there and look at the pictures and like, and this is how I really got into art too. I mean, I was really big. My uncle and I we would sit there and draw our heroes. You know, Thor, Conan, Batman, Superman. He was really big into Superman, Spider-Man. We just sit there and draw them. You know, I mean, hours and hours of doing that and just having lots of fun. Okay, guys, what do you think about comic books?
They're cool.
Cool.
Very cool.
Thumbs up. All right. Please give us a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Also, please give us a comment. Let us know what comic books you guys have, and also, have they been helpful with creating missions or quests or storylines for your TTRPGs? And as always, guys, thanks for watching.